See how your mouth
See.
makes things happen? Good guy, man. You just gotta keep him talking. I said on Instagram. I said, oh no, because I let her lick my thinks I'm gay.
This is crazy. You're 25 years old. Why you still talking about child support?
Look, if I didn't say anything, if you would interpret it as hip hop is fine with his behaviors.
Curtis Jackson didn't build his reputation just on hit records and business moves. He built it on one rule: disrespect him, and he will make a public example out of you. No exceptions, no expiration date. These are 10 times 50 Cent proved that rule applies to everybody. Number 10. Vivica A. Fox on Watch What Happens Live. In 2003, 50 and Vivica were one of hip-hop's flashiest couples. It burned bright and burned out in less than a year. For the next decade, the jabs were scattered. Nothing major. Then in 2015, Vivica sat down on Watch What Happens Live and detonated whatever piece was left. When the host brought up 50's comments about Empire's ratings, she went straight for the jugular, said the pot was calling the kettle black, pointed at a magazine cover, and made the implication plain. A few months later, 50 showed up on the exact same couch and dropped a single line about something personal that made the studio lose its mind completely. Andy Cohen couldn't hold his face together. The crowd was on its feet. 50 leaned back with that signature grin, like he'd been holding that one in the chamber for months, waiting for the right camera. Number 9. French Montana's Bugatti. French came up filming DVDs in the Bronx, and during the Rick Ross beef, he actually helped 50 by supplying surveillance footage of Ross's properties. But once French got his own buzz, he started calling 50 a donkey in interviews. 50 responded by breaking down French's entire catalog publicly, pointing out that every big moment French ever had was on somebody else's track, never solo. Then, French bought a Bugatti and flexed it all over Instagram. 50 called the dealership. Turned out it was a 2008 model. No USB, no navigation, no Bluetooth. A decade-old car the lot had been trying to move for years. Only 50 Cent could make a Bugatti sound like a Honda Civic. He turned French's biggest flex into the internet's biggest punchline overnight. French eventually went on Drink Champs, called 50 a genius, praised BMF, and squashed everything. Response: what beef? I don't remember. Number 8. His own son Marquise. This one is the most personal entry on the list. The fallout between 50 and his eldest son Marquise traces back to the bitter custody battle with Marquise's mother in 2008. A court eventually set child support at $6,700 a month. Marquise went on a podcast and did the math out loud, said $81.00 a year is pocket change next to his father's fortune, that he couldn't pick what neighborhood to live in because of his father's beefs, that he couldn't build a normal life. The host pushed back hard, telling him most people would rebuild their entire existence on that check. 50 saw all of it in real time and responded the only way he knows how: pure public ridicule. He posted videos mocking his own son on social media, calling out the child support complaints, and treating the whole thing as content. Trolling your own flesh and blood on the internet is a different tier of petty that only 50 operates on. Number 7. T.I.'s diss tracks. Ignored. In early 2026, T.I. went on $1 million worth of game and declared he'd lost all respect for 50's character. Called him a rat. Said he backed out of deals. Said he didn't want to share stages with him. 50 responded by posting unflattering photos of T.I.'s wife Tiny, which brought T.I.'s sons into it. T.I. then hit the studio and dropped 2 diss tracks in under 24 hours. The whole culture went on alert. And then 50 did the most disrespectful thing possible. Nothing. No booth. No response track. Just a photo of a trophy labeled the Stupid Award with a caption that read, "This award goes to old rappers still trying to battle rap. ChatGPT told me I don't need me to rap. You need me to rap." 50 hasn't dropped a studio album since 2014. His final lap tour grossed $105 million across 103 cities. T.I.'s last headline tour was 2017. The people challenging him to rap battles need him to respond to stay relevant. He doesn't need any of them. Number 6. Randall Emmett's debt. Randall Emmett is a Hollywood producer who partnered with 50 on a film company called Cheetah Vision. They made real profits together, but when the money stopped flowing 50's direction and the debt climbed past $1 million, most people would have handled it quietly with attorneys. Not 50. He turned Instagram into a collections agency, posting text screenshots, memes labeling Emmett as Randall, and daily countdowns to his self-imposed payment deadline. Emmett was texting him, begging him to stop posting. The wire hit before sunrise on the deadline. Emmett's final message read, "If I agree to all the terms, can you please stop posting? Money will be there in the AM." 50 deleted every post, called it a blessed day, and went back to regular programming. When Andy Cohen later asked if he had any regrets going public with it, 50 smiled and said, "No. I got paid right away. What's to regret?" Number 5. Steve Stoute at Madison Square Garden. Steve Stoute managed Nas, built Translation into one of the most powerful marketing firms in entertainment, and had years of real business with 50, vitamin water, sneaker deals, joint ventures. So when Stoute sat down on Hot 97 in 2014 and made a calculated case for why 50 didn't belong on any list of hip-hop's most influential people, calling him a relic of a moment that had passed, it landed with weight. Weeks later, they crossed paths courtside at a Knicks game inside MSG. Cameras everywhere, security 2 feet away. 50 closed the distance and got inches from Stoute's face, letting him physically feel what those words had started. Afterward, 50 explained it simply. Stoute was playing street when he was a businessman, and that's a dangerous costume to wear when certain people walk into the room. Number 4. Cam'ron on live radio. In 2007, 50 was on Hot 97 calling Coke Records a graveyard for washed artists. Cam'ron heard it and called directly into the broadcast to confront him live. Cam came in loud, bringing deal numbers and label valuations, trying to win a business argument on air. 50 sat completely calm the entire time and dismantled every point surgically, breaking down distribution, deals, comparing album sales, explaining exactly why Coach couldn't compete with his network. When Cam tried to use Jim Jones selling 300 units as proof the label worked, 50 pointed out Lloyd Banks sold the same number on a major and walked away with significantly more money. Cam's own evidence proved 50's graveyard point. Years later, Cam revealed how they finally squashed it. One phone call where he led with, "How do we get to this money?" 50's response was immediate. "Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Come correct, lead with business, and the armor comes right down." Number 3. Jim Jones, the landlord call, and the kicked door. When Jones, Mano, Fabulous, and Dave East went on their podcast and compared 50's Diddy documentary to leaking someone's tape without permission, 50 didn't write a caption or record a response. He called the landlord of the building where their podcast was recorded and posted the entire conversation online. The landlord revealed Jones owed somewhere between $80,000 and $180,000 in back rent, announced to millions for sport. Then, in February 2026, surveillance footage dropped of Jones physically kicking the door of that same studio, trying to get inside. 50 claimed co-ownership through the landlord, posted the clip of Biggie's kick in the door instrumental, and captioned it, "Sam is my partner. I own the joint. Fix every door you kick, or I'm going to kick your Jimmy." Jones tried to play it off. The footage had already gone viral. No bars needed, just business receipts and a security camera. Number 2, Fat Joe's 7-year war. During the peak of G-Unit's dominance, Fat Joe aligned himself with Ja Rule and Murder Inc. during the height of that beef. For 50, there was no neutral. You were with him or against him. Joe chose wrong. What followed was 7 consecutive years of 50 coming at him from every angle. Diss tracks, subliminals, interviews, industry maneuvering, public humiliation. Joe admitted openly that having 50 on your case is a terrible place to be, but Joe fired back with one of the boldest moves of the entire war, walking out at the MTV Awards in front of millions of viewers and turning 50's own security presence into the night's biggest punchline on live national television. They eventually buried the hatchet after mutual friend and legendary manager Chris Lighty passed away, and both men came out the other side with genuine respect for each other. Number 1, Diddy. The decade-long warning nobody listened to. 50 had been calling Diddy out for over a decade before the raids, the lawsuits, and the arrest. It started with one moment at Chris Lighty's wedding where Diddy said something to 50 that made him deeply uncomfortable. He kept bringing it up for years, in interviews, on Instagram, in random appearances. The whole industry laughed it off, called him petty, told him to move on. Then in March 2024, the FBI kicked in Diddy's doors in Miami and Los Angeles simultaneously. The lawsuits flooded in. Suddenly, every joke 50 ever made looked like a warning the entire industry had ignored. 50 responded by executive producing a Netflix documentary series called Sean Combs: The Reckoning. When people tried to frame it as a personal grudge, he shut it down with one line: "If I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as hip-hop being fine with his behaviors." There was no one else being vocal, from an uncomfortable moment at a wedding to the only public voice willing to say it. While Diddy sits behind bars, that's the full arc of 50. Sense zero tolerance. He doesn't forget, he doesn't let up, he doesn't care who's uncomfortable. And he's been right the whole time. Drop a comment. Which moment was the coldest? And who did we miss that deserves to be on this list?